All right, welcome to our first project. This is a quick project. It's called the Starburst Letter, and you may have even done this before. A couple of you have. It's similar to something also that we did with sixth grade last year. Very similar, but a little bit different. So some of you, this is going to look familiar. But basically, in this project, everything comes from one point out. We start with a bubble or block letter, nice and big. So I've gone ahead and drawn my R, which is my first name. I have a handout for you, and you do want to follow that. It has all the things that I'm going to show you in the video on the handout as well, so you can always refer to that. Step 1, in bubble or block letters, draw the first initial of your first or last name, nice and big. Step 2 says, do not bend, tap against the table, sword fight, etc. My metal rulers, I love them, and I want them to last a long time. Well, I made this handout last year. My metal rulers are in pretty sad shape. But whatever ruler you have, don't mess it up because we only have so many and I buy them with my own money. So we want them to make it through the rest of the year. All right, so it says make a dot somewhere on your paper to be the center of your starburst. So that's what this dot right here was. It also goes on to say, if you want it to be directly in the center of your paper, start by drawing diagonal lines across from corner to corner. Use a ruler. The center of the X you draw will be the center of your paper. So you would take your ruler and draw a straight line from this corner and a straight line from this corner, and wherever that matches, wherever that meets, that would be the actual center. If you want it in the center, it doesn't have to be, and in this case, because I have this hole in the R, I'm actually going to use that. I'm going to put my dot there. Okay, sorry, I didn't actually grab a ruler before making the video, so I had to go get it. But I'm going to go ahead and make my dot there. I want it to be in the center of my R, and if you have like a P or something like that, that would work for that as well too. But it can be anywhere on the paper. This S has it off in the corner. This is more center. Step 3 says add additional lines from the dot you drew in the center. You want to end up with an even number of lines. The lines don't have to be perfect. And my ruler actually is small. It's not going to go across my whole paper. So I'm just going to draw, I'm not going to draw corner to corner. I'm not going to draw anything other than like from this starburst out. So I'm going to draw right over top of my letter. I'm still going to try to go nice and light so that I can erase if I accidentally get bumped or move my ruler. So I've got 1 so far, 2, and I'm not worrying about if they're evenly spaced or really much of anything right now. I'm just trying to get some lines drawn. I do remember that it said even number of lines, right? You want to end up with an even number of lines. That is important. So right now I do not have that. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need to add some more. But just keep track. How many do I have? You know what? Now that I'm saying that aloud, it makes more sense to think of it as spaces. Because my ruler is too short for me to go all the way, I'm going to end up with a different number of lines probably. I want one here. Because basically, if I'm going to color every other one, I want to make sure I don't end up with 2 the same. So I'm going to color that one, this one, this one, this one, this one. I would not color this one. So this is fine. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines. So yeah, still even number of lines. Okay, so that's true even when you're not going all the way across the paper. So I'm just trying to decide, do I want it bigger, do I want it smaller? In this case, my squares are a lot smaller, and we're going to color these with permanent markers. They get pretty stinky if the spaces are too big. So you might want to make them a little smaller than this, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to move on. Step 4, use marker to color. Start by coloring every other shape around the letter. So I'm like going to ignore my letter. Next, color every other shape in the letter. So I need to actually ignore my letter and begin to color. Let me grab a permanent marker. Okay, so remember I had said this one, this one, this one. Skip this one, but I do this one and this one. I'm just making a little dot there. Here's the thing, and the reason I wanted to show you this right now is the background is also going to include this little triangle here. We want to take some care and craftsmanship, and so we're not going to scribble. I'm not going to see white through it. I'm actually going to take time to first outline my shape. Gave me a chance to straighten out that squiggly line too. I'm going to outline my shape, and then I'm going to fill it in. I like to use like little circles most of the time, but it doesn't matter as long as you're covering your whole paper. You can go back and forth. You are going to fill this whole shape in. And I have to remember that if I have a hole in the center of my letter, that is also part of the shape. So this shape right here is also going to be considered background, and I'm going to color that in. So I'm going to go ahead and color all of this in. Once you have the whole background colored in, then you go in and do your letter. And it really is important that you don't try to jump ahead and do your letter at the same time as your background, because it will get confusing. Okay, I didn't tell you to do it that way because it's my preferred method. I told you to do it that way because it's going to make it less confusing. And then I would go on and I would color this shape nice and neat, and I would color this shape nice and neat. And I'm going to end up doing every other one, totally ignoring my R. I do not have time to sit here and color this whole thing today and show you on the video the next step, so I'm going to refer back to that other example I made last year. Once you have colored your background, then you will come into your letter and you will flip it. You will do the opposite. If I colored the background, I don't color that part of that letter. If I didn't color the background, I do color that part of the letter. So we'll flip it, but it will get real confusing if you try to do that right away. So please ignore your letter, get those backgrounds done first, and then come back. But the directions are here. Next, color every other shape in the letter. Make sure it's opposite of the shape around it. Continue if there are additional smaller shapes. Be sure it's the opposite of the shape next to it and before it. And that is it. You want to make sure you put your name on the back in pencil. Don't ever write on the back with color marker or permanent marker because it comes right through. You don't want to use that. I think that's it. Really take your time, care, craftsmanship, color them in well.